We're reinforcing standards. We're going to be fit, not fat, in our formations. We welcome back all the folks who were forced out because of the COVID mandate. We've ripped wokeness out of the military, sir, DEI, trans, and it's Fort Benning and Fort Bragg again at the DOD. We're rebuilding the military, sir. The Golden Dome is well underway. Because of your leadership, sir, I believe we're making the military great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's up, Taters? This is Tree from treeoflogic.com. So I have some breaking news. Well, not really breaking news because it was basically broadcast yesterday, and I'm just doing it today. So better late than never. But the Supreme Court has allowed Trump to ban transgenders out of the military. Breaking: Supreme Court allows Trump transgender troop ban to take effect. Let's go ahead and read this article. The United States Supreme Court on Tuesday allowed the Trump administration's transgender military ban to take effect. The Supreme Court stayed the lower court's preliminary injunction on transgender military ban pending appeal in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The High Court made the decision to 6-3. Liberal Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson would have denied the application. There was no explanation included in the Supreme Court's decision. So let me break that down for you all, because of course you know me. I went to Grok and I said, yo, I want you to list all of the justices that said yes in favor of Trump's ban and all of the justices that said no, rejecting Trump's ban. And of course we have the you're going to have Clarence Thomas on here, baby. Okay. So here's everybody: John, Clarence, Samuel, Neil, Brett, and Amy. And then the justices who voted no. Are we really shocked by this? Okay, Sonia, Elena, and Ketanji. So, of course, you had all these. I guess I should be calling them by their last names, right? Too late. I'm not going to record this all over again. Here's a video clip from Live Now from Fox, who will go into more details.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's keep it moving with more of these top headlines. A pretty significant ruling today up there at the Supreme Court. I want to put up the order posted there by Jacob Wheeler at Politico. He says, breaking a 6-3 Supreme Court rules the Trump administration's ban on transgender troops from the U.S. military can take effect. Now, remember, this was working its way through the federal courts, but the court now siding with the Trump administration here in lifting a lower court's order that paused the Pentagon's transgender military ban. Now, that was a very short order there, as you just saw in that screen grab of it. The High Court handing the White House a win as Trump seeks to unmake the Biden-era DEI agenda. Now, the court stayed a lower court order allowing the Pentagon policy to take effect. Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, and Brown-Jackson would have denied the administration's appeal and kept the lower court injunction in place. So this was split along kind of ideological lines on the court, 6-3. So at issue in the suit is known as Schilling v. United States, is President Trump's January executive order banning transgender military members. Now, the order required the Pentagon to update its guidance regarding, quote, trans-identifying medical standards for military service and to, quote, rescind guidance inconsistent with military readiness. Now, the initial complaint argued the executive order turns away transgender military members and kicks them out for no legitimate reason. So, quote, rather, it baselessly declares all transgender people unfit to serve, insults and demeans them, and cruelly describes every one of them as incapable of an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, even in one's personal life, based solely because they are transgender. That was the initial complaint. So the U.S. District Judge, Benjamin Settle, had issued a preliminary injunction in March that blocked the administration from identifying and removing transgender service members as the suit worked its way through legal proceedings. We now know the High Court ruling on this 6-3, allowing the ban to take effect, lifting a lower court order's injunction that paused the very ban here. So I wanted to make sure we got that news into you as well. As so many of you know, these executive orders Trump has signed in now more than 100 days in office, many of which have been halted there by federal judges in federal court jurisdictions throughout the country, that one being one of them there on transgender service in the military. The ban now can go into effect.
Now, the Demon Rats are not happy about this, and they are triggered. I have a couple of videos from them. I did not want to use this particular video from TikTok. I used it underneath libs of TikTok, and because I want to showcase the replies to this nut job here, which you're not going to get on the TikTok app. So here's the post. Woman on TikTok says she will shave her head if someone can give her one good reason why trans people should be banned from the military. Spoiler alert, these people will never do something like that. No matter what facts you bring them, no matter what receipts you give them, they will still say, no, poo-poo head. They'll just cover up their ears and tell you that you're lying. All right, so let's look at what she said here in the video.
I just read a headline and it said that the Supreme Court is upholding Trump's ban on transgender people in the military. And I have a question. Actually, I have a proposition. Okay, if one person can come in the comments and tell me what is so scary about transgender people, I'll shave my head. But it has to be a valid reason, okay? And I'll give you an example of a valid reason. I think you could ban bears from the military, okay? And I would say banning bears from the military would make a lot of sense. Let me tell you why. Bears are dangerous. Bears don't know if the person on their side or the person on the other side is the person they're supposed to be eating, okay? So they could eat you, your fellow servicemen, by accident, not knowing, okay? A bear is dangerous, okay? That's a valid, dangerous thing. You can be scared of a bear because they might attack you and they might eat you. I need a valid reason with facts backing it up as to why people are so afraid of transgender people. I need it, and I'll shave my head. If there's a really, real valid, it has to be factual. It has to be, I am scared of a bear because a bear can eat me. I am scared of a transgender person because I don't know if they have a their skirt. Like, what is it? What is it? And don't even try to come up here being like a lot of attacks from transgender people onto other people. Because the facts are that's actually just not true. The facts are white men are still the #1 attackers of women. So anyway, a real fact.
But hold on. She said white men are the real attackers. But is it like that? I do believe I saw these stats. Most trans women are biological white men. Girl, do you think before you talk?
Of why people would be afraid of transgender people and why transgender people shouldn't serve in the military. And I'll shave my head if it's valid. Thank you.
No, she won't. She won't shave her head. She's just saying this because she's like, and she's, like I said, no, it doesn't matter what you say. She's going to go, nuh-uh. And she's going to basically stick her fingers in her ears and go, la, 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 la. I don't hear you. La, 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 la. I don't hear you. But anyway, I did pick a couple, like I think about 3 responses to her that I saw underneath this video, and I'm going to read them to you right now. Ava in Africa says, if you're in the battlefield and you are incontinent from your surgery, it will interfere with carefully planned operations. If soldiers around you are in distress, they cannot and should not worry about misgendering and subsequent actions against them. Men who are actually women will demand tasks that they are too physically weak for and compromise their team. Hormone therapies can lead to emotional instability. Most trans individuals are emotionally unstable and need constant therapy. Military operations need laser focus that trans individuals cannot offer. All their focus is on their own bodies and how they are treated. They are liabilities. Trans people display a textbook sense of narcissism. Everything revolves around them. Every decision they make is singular and first order. Trans do not share any form of team mentality, and if called out about it, they play victim. We shouldn't coddle such a small minority. They will run if danger is present. They will leave you if you're wounded. The military is not the place for individual identity. That is the absolute lowest priority in a fighting force. If you prioritize your personal identity highly, you should not be in the military. Soldiers look alike, act alike, dress alike, etc., all for a purpose. I could go on. And there were a lot of great responses to this video. So let's go to TikTok and see what they have to say. Oh, goody.
Do you all see this lady right here? Her name's Emily. From just looking at this picture, is she a boy or a girl? Doesn't matter. Today, the Supreme Court upholds not having transgender people within the military. Emily's been in the military for 19 and a half years. So when she did her transition, they made her go through every single psychological test, every physical exam, any single test they could possibly think of, and there is no test that proved that she shouldn't be in the military. So somebody that is highly recognized can no longer be in the military because of this. If someone wants to fight for our country, let them. Because I don't see a line at any of the military branches waiting for us to all be like, hey, let's go. Clearly, they passed boot camp and any other test that they could possibly complete. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here.
Okay. The biological male that you are pointing to passed all that before he transitioned. But, nice lie.
It's a good day to scream. She agrees. Let's cut our military. Let's throw out good soldiers. Because people are stupid.
If you guys didn't know, today, as of Tuesday, the Supreme Court just implemented Trump's trans military ban. So if you guys didn't know, as of February of 2025, all service members who are trans and anyone else from that point on that wanted to enlist who is trans cannot, because of the new trans military ban that has taken effect as of February. This has nothing to do with military readiness, and this has everything to do with discrimination. Keep in mind, you can still enlist with a criminal record. Like, you can enlist with a criminal record, but you can't enlist if you're trans. I don't agree with everything that Trump has done, and I do agree with some things he has done, but this by far does not make any sense. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's just plain old discrimination. Sure, like, not every trans person is gonna be in the front lines, but there are so many professions, so many opportunities, so many things to do in the military that don't require front line. They don't require combat, don't require for a trans person to take such responsibility for that. So I don't understand how you're just gonna ban the entire community from joining, because that doesn't make sense. Let's just hope in the future that we have more smart people in the office and get rid of the crackheads who are just making up shit out of nowhere to support their biased opinions. You're allowing people with criminal records to enlist, but you're denying trans people to enlist just for the simple reason of being trans. I think it's time to wake up.
So 5 men wearing robes, along with 1 woman wearing robes, decided to give the President of the United States, who wears orange makeup every day, the right to ban people from the military who do not adhere to, quote-unquote, social norms. In other words, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 with conservatives in the 6th and the liberals in the dissenting that Donald Trump can ban trans people from serving in the military. And I highlighted the fact that Donald Trump wears makeup every day and that these 5 justices wear robes to highlight the absurdity of the fact that we are banning people just based on who they are and how they identify. They are not a threat to anybody. They fight just as well as anybody. They are just doing this purely for discrimination purposes and to rile up their base, who loves to talk down on people who look differently than they are. And what's wild about this hypocrisy is that they support the guy who wears makeup and lies about his weight and all kinds of things. That's fine, but a trans person they've never met, don't let them serve in the military. Donald Trump and his supporters don't like anybody who doesn't sound or look like them. They have no interest in anybody outside of that circle. They live in a completely closed-off media echo chamber where they never even get to meet these people to learn that they are just like everyone else and they just want to have a good life and do what they want to do without people telling them, no, you can't do that based on who you are or who you love. The most enraging thing about the Trump world is that in 2025, we are still dealing with this horrific epidemic of discrimination and people just treating people like garbage just because of how they look or how they act or how they identify. It's nonsense. And it is just, we are so beyond this. And I cannot wait for the day when no one cares about this stupid crap anymore.
I find it very weird that the further we get into this new administration, the more it coincidentally feels like a Godfather movie. Because after the Supreme Court just rebuked Trump twice, telling him in the middle of the night that he could no longer use the Alien Enemies Act to deport people, and they told him he had to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador, he said that he wasn't going to do any of those things. He completely just said he wasn't going to listen to the SCOTUS and he didn't care. He can freely ignore judges, right? Because that's what people like J.D. Vance have been telling him for months. Just completely ignore a co-equal branch of the government. However, after he signed an executive order banning all transgender people from military service, a federal judge blocked that order. However, today the Supreme Court overturned it and said Trump's transgender military ban is freely allowed to take effect. As you would expect, this was a 6-3 ruling with all 3 liberal judges dissenting. This now allows the military to start discharging and firing transgender members of the military who dutifully served their country and block anyone who is transgender from signing up. Yet, of course, conveniently, while he's been ignoring the Supreme Court on every other front, he has no problem following this order. Because much like every other authoritarian on this planet, he totally has no problem with judges when they agree with him. The second they disagree with him, his cult sends them all death threats and he thinks they need to be removed and sent to Gitmo. Once again, just another further fascist step in taking away the rights of the transgender and the LGBTQ community. I really love the days when the Supreme Court actually has a spine, but on days like this, it once again reminds me that they are not on our side.
And there you have it, taters. Oh my God, look at all those libtard tears on TikTok. Woo, hate it for you. Anyway, I'm happy about this. We have to take our military back to normalcy. But let me know what you think by leaving a comment below this video. Don't forget to give me a like. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Later, taters.